Let's make 3 things clear before I begin the video. I am not a financial services professional. This is not financial investment advice. This is purely my opinion. One of my favorite movies as a kid was this movie called Memento. It's about an insurance claims investigator played by Guy Pearce who gets hit in the head as someone breaks into his house and kills his wife. His wife is dead, and now he has no short-term memory. He can only remember things that happened before the injury, but he cannot form new memories. If you talk to him for 5 or 10 minutes, he'll forget what you were talking about. He has to write everything that happens down on a piece of paper and then eventually tattoo it onto himself so that when he looks in the mirror after he goes to the bathroom after falling asleep or whatever, he can actually see and remember what has happened and what he needs to remember. Now, his goal in life at this point, his singular goal, is to kill the person who killed his wife. That is what he wants to do. He wants to get revenge. And it's a very difficult thing to do because he can't remember anything past 5 or 10 minutes. So he gets to work investigating, and he finds the person that killed his wife, and he killed them. What you realize as the movie goes on, and the part that this destroys you at near the end, is the realization that he is killing the wrong people, and that he is actually choosing to at the end. He actually does kill the person who killed his wife with the help of a dirty undercover cop or informant or something named Teddy. I don't remember. It's been like a long time since I watched this movie. And then he realizes that Teddy is getting him to kill the wrong guy. He didn't remember it. He thought he'd remember how awesome it was in the beginning, but he didn't. He didn't even know what happened. So Teddy figures, well, you know, there are drug dealers and that if they get killed, I can steal $250,000 of their money. And this guy over here seems to want to kill people that killed his wife, and he can't remember when he already did it. Let's make the best of the situation. So he just has him keep killing people that are convenient for him to kill. Eventually, the insurance claims investigator figures out that he's been getting duped by this guy, and he decides that I'm going to start going down the path of believing that you killed my wife so that I am justified to kill you. And he does kill him. And then after all that's done, he keeps doing. He keeps going. The whole idea is that he probably keeps killing people that he thought killed his wife throughout the rest of his entire life. His character wins, but he refuses to take the win. And as a result of refusing to take the win, he winds up ruining the rest of his life. About a week and a half ago, I did a video where I said that I did not, while I don't agree with everything this group says, while I don't represent this group in any way, shape, or form, I simply disagreed with the narrative that I saw being created, which is that the hedge funds on Wall Street that shorted a stock to 140% of the available float, again, shorting, fine, shorting 140%, that's getting a little fucked up there. That's fun. That's something that's a totally fine behavior. But when they get called out by kids who figure out that they did it and then they get stuck with their dick in the cookie jar, now it's somehow the retail investor's fault who simply purchased the stock realizing that there was a short squeeze coming and that you were going to see all sorts of terrible stuff said to try and slander these people. And that's exactly what happened. They tried to call them alt-right, market manipulators, raise all sorts of crazy shit. And I did a video on this. Now, on January 27th, they said on lots of different mainstream media outlets, and I also did a video on this, that all the shorts had covered. The idea being there, if you think the shorts had covered, that you'll sell them. And I said that I did not believe that to be true at that point in time. In my opinion, they had not covered. And when you look at the chart for last week, on the 27th, in the morning, they said the shorts had covered, or at least my video, I thought it was BS. And I don't think they did because the stock went from, the low hundreds area up to 300 and 400. That is when the shorts actually covered, in my opinion. And what I noticed is that the group won. They won. They got this stock that was in the $4 to $40 range to go all the way up to $300 or $400. And they forced hedge funds to cover at a great loss to themselves. That's cool. I mean, they won. The problem that I've noticed over the past week is similar to the problem that Guy Pearce has in the movie Memento, where he doesn't realize that he won. He got what he wanted. He got the person who killed his wife. He got revenge. And yet, for some reason, he keeps seeking it over and over and over. Over the past week, I have watched as the group has grown nearly 8 to 9 times in size, as moderators that used to be the people who were moderating the group have seemingly been purged and pushed out by older moderators that were not really active on the group for a while, but have now started to come back as the group has gotten attention. This is not the same group that I remember looking at, and I don't recognize this group of people that seemingly downvote every single post where someone has a contrarian opinion. One of the things that I appreciated about this group in the past was the debate that could go back and forth, how people could fervently disagree, and it didn't necessarily have that type of hive mind mentality. They were ridiculous. They called each other stupid names. Again, as I said in that first initial video, I don't agree with everything that goes on there. And as I said in the video before that, discussing the Citron research thing, I find a lot of this shit ridiculous. You have people that are posting loss porn and talking about how they fap to it. If you watch porn of people losing 99% of their money and then claim on a message board that you fap to it, you should probably take their investment advice with a grain of salt. Just my personal opinion. But at the same time, that was a group of people that could disagree with one another, could have back and forth discussion, where I actually could benefit. Again, I don't listen to everything I see there, but I could benefit from learning something. What I see now is a complete hive mind mess. I can't blame the group in and of itself. If you have a group that grows from about 800,000 to 1 million to 8.5 million, of course things are going to change. Like whether you're someone who believes in open borders or whether you're the most hardline immigration person there is, if you have a city, like let's just say you have the borough of Manhattan and it goes from 2 million people to 16 million people in a week, things are probably going to get a little weird. So if you, and particularly if you have the leadership all get tossed out within the span of that week and the group of people multiplies in size by 8, there's probably going to be a little chaos there. There's probably going to be some losing of what made that group what it was. And what I've watched happen over the last week, it appears to be a losing of what made that group special, what made that group something that I would actually see fit to click on and read through. What I read through now are just posts that all say the exact same thing. All say the same thing. You must hold from now until eternity. And that is, I think that's, in my opinion, ridiculous. And this is not recognizable at all. Now, why do I bring this up? Well, in the beginning, I said that the people on Wall Street that actually managed to short this thing to the point that it was, that's not going to be what gets focused on. They're going to focus on these evil retail investors that actually found it out using, basically available public data. And they're going to call them market manipulators. And I thought that that was an incorrect narrative to be pushing or focusing on. However, when an investigation starts, it's going to start maybe a few days from now, a week from now, 2 weeks from now, a month from now, 2 months from now, 6 months from now, and they are not going to be focusing on the Wallstreetbets that I was reading that had 800,000 or 1 million members. They're going to be focusing on the current Wallstreetbets that has 8 million, or the Wallstreetbets of next week that may have 15 million or 20 million people. And at that point, it will be an entirely different group. Since it will be an entirely different group, it will be very easy to paint the entire group as just evil market manipulators and just, Look at the poor little people that shorted the stock 140%. Yo, you poor victim, you. And I want people to understand and remember this, because once this actually starts being looked into and investigated, it's going to be very easy to paint the people on these forums as horrible market manipulators as a result of the changed behavior. There was actually a point a week and a half ago to saying, I don't believe this short squeeze has happened yet. And as you can see from the chart, it went from here to here because the short squeeze, in my opinion, had not happened yet. Now that, in my opinion, that short squeeze has taken place and people are just typing the exact same diamond hand, 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 hold the line, and downvoting to hell anybody with a contrarian opinion, it's going to be easier to paint them as these horribly manipulative people that they weren't before. It's going to be easy to take a group that's existed for many years and take 1 or 2 weeks of their existence where the group grew in size by 800% and say, this is what it was all along, this is why it was bad. And that's going to be, again, if my company grew in size, 8 times within a week, it probably would lose some of the elements of what made it the company that it is today. If my forum grew in size by 8 times and, and Volley was no longer the one that was answering questions and I just found someone else to do it, it wouldn't be the same forum. The same is true here. I don't think this is the Wallstreetbets that I was talking about even just 1 week ago. And it's not something that I even remotely recognize anymore. There are a lot of people that have been posting, showing screenshots of mods that have been kicked out and people that are being, quickly tossed aside. People must remember that a while ago, there was a mod that started doing a lot of stuff that people in the forum did not like. I believe his name was Jartek, and they actually had him kicked out of it permanently. This has happened before, and it likely will happen again. But the difference is that happened when the forum was growing at this rate, and now the group is growing at this rate. I think it's important to understand that when you watch the videos that I posted last week, when I am giving my opinions on everything that is going on, this is based on the Wall Street bets that existed last week. But the Wall Street bets that exist right now is not a Wall Street bets that I recognize, whether in its moderation or just honestly the basic ability to have discourse and go back and forth without people being downvoted to hell if they have a contrarian opinion that may actually have a point based in reality. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. That's it for today, and as always, I hope you learned something.